Hi everybody, Michelle McClunan, Life Navigator and Astrologer, and I'm bringing you an update for the first full moon of 2023. And this is a beautifully feminine, deep, powerful full moon to start the new year. So I'm going to try and unpack it for you. But before I do that, just to say that we have a very interesting year coming up. It's definitely a year of transition and huge change. So I think it's going to be a case of really building our resilience for this year ahead. There's going to be exciting, beautiful changes coming up, new visions, new communities, new ways of doing things, new innovative ways of doing things. Really looking at our paradigms and being prepared to shift those paradigms and being prepared to let go of old beliefs so that we can actually embrace a new earth. So I'm going to be doing another video on 2023 and the major themes for that. But just to give you a bit of a heads up, that's what we have ahead of us. And this full moon sort of ushers it in quite a gentle but very powerful way. So the full moon is on January the 7th in South Africa in the very early hours of the morning at 1:07 or thereabouts. And if you live in a different time zone, it might be on January the 6th. So it's January the 6th and 7th. That's the full moon. And full moons, as we know now, are always culmination points. They are where the sun and the moon are opposite each other. The sun is shining its light onto the moon and revealing whatever is there. So it's a time really of polarity. All full moons are a time of polarity. It's a time when things tend to come to the surface because it's a bit of a mirror. It's the light shining into the darkness. It's the light shining into the shadow. It's a light shining into those corners that might not have been looked at before. So a lot of people feel very intense emotions at full moon, and this one is no different. In fact, this one's probably more so because it's in the sign of Cancer, and Cancer is a very emotive, very sensitive sign. So emotions kind of run high at a full moon in Cancer, but there's also a huge opportunity for clearing and healing. You might also have relationship issues coming up at full moon because it's a polarity. So you'll see yourself within somebody else. You'll see your own shadow shown to you by somebody else. So those are just sort of broad themes on full moons. And always it's a time for releasing. New moons are a time for beginnings and new sort of seeds being planted. Full moons are a time of release, letting go, culmination. It's the culmination point of the lunar cycle, which happens every month. That's why us astrologers draw up a chart for the full moon, because it's always a potent point, as is the new moon. The moon has many phases through the month, but just to make it easy, we focus on those two. So this full moon is in the sign of Cancer. Cancer is a cardinal water sign. What is cardinal? Cardinal is initiating, pioneering, very strong energy. A lot of people misinterpret the sign of Cancer as being weak because Cancerians are often very sensitive, but it's not weak. Water is the strongest element, actually. It's the element which allows change. It changes form, changes into water vapor or ice. It always gets to its destined place where it's headed for. It's tenacious, and it usually wins, but by yielding, not by forcing. And Cancer is a very good example of that water because it's cardinal water. So water in astrology, meaning emotion, meaning flow, meaning feeling, meaning empathy, compassion, care, kindness. All those words are associated with water. It can also be associated with moods because water is unpredictable. If you want to understand a water sign, particularly a Cancerian one, but all water signs, just go and look at the sea and see how much it changes. It can be beautiful turquoise, calm water one day, and the next day can be turbulent and rough and grey and kind of almost foreboding. And that's the moods, the changes of water. And so it's for us to actually navigate those changes rather than to hold on to them or get stuck in them. It's just to actually surf the waves, really. And this full moon really is sort of amplifying that. We have Jupiter, which has just moved into Aries, which is very powerful. It's very forward-moving energy. It's also a cardinal sign. It's cardinal fire, and then cardinal water, which is big energy. So there's a lot of big energy around. The sun, which is opposite the moon, is in Capricorn. Capricorn is cardinal earth. So there's a lot of forward-moving, strong, powerful energy around, and it's for us to harness it and to work with it, to navigate it. So if you look at different themes for Cancer, Cancer is the sign, as we probably know, as the crab. And if you look at a crab in a rock pool, you'll see that, if you, let's just say you're standing at the rock pool and you throw a little piece of bread in to the rock pool, that little crab will generally come out sideways, grab the piece of bread, and then go back under its rock. It will generally get the piece of bread. That's that tenacious energy which wants to actually go and achieve something. Okay. It's also very private. Home is very important. And we place a lot of emphasis on the physical home. But Cancer really is the sign of learning that we carry our homes with us. So the crab carries that shell on its back. And this full moon is a reminder that rather than looking outside for our security and for our stability and our feelings of nurturing and family, we look inside for those things. Having said that, family and security and concerns about security can come up at this full moon. Also, the other thing that can come up is old familial patterns. So those old conditioned patterns that you might have grown up with, it could even go back generations, where, we as a family have always done things like this, or my mother has always told me this, or my father did this. So it's old stories around family that can actually come up at this time, and it can almost pull us back into old conditioned patterns and responses and reactions. And so this full moon is to be able to see it, to see the pattern, to be the observer of those patterns, as opposed to getting drawn into it and kind of drowning in those stories. Venus, which is the planet of love and beauty, Venus has just moved into Aquarius, and Aquarius is the observer. So she's saying to us, just pause, stand back a little bit, feel the feelings if they come up, but try and stay away from going too much into the story, because we can drop the story in an instant if we choose to, or we can choose to become mired in it and sink into it for days or weeks. That's a choice. This year we have a huge amount of Aquarian energy, which I'll be focusing on when I do my 2023 update. But Aquarius is the energy of sort of getting a bigger perspective, becoming the observer, looking at things from a different perspective, changing our paradigms. And Pluto is going to be moving into Aquarius for the first time in around 250 years. It's a major, major move. It's going to be there for 22 years. So for some of us, for the rest of our lives. And that's going to bring in a whole lot of different paradigms. So this is a sort of a full moon where we're preparing the ground for that. We are nourishing and nurturing and deepening our roots into what represents true home for us. It's not the building. It's not the city. It's not about going somewhere and achieving something out there. It really isn't. It's not about where we live, with whom we live. It's where we live inside ourselves. It's whether we can actually be responsible, which means responsible. We've got the ability to respond to what's actually going on in this moment. And all of us have that ability, but we get pulled into the past and pulled into the future. This is very much about nurturing and nourishing ourselves and others in this moment. The focus is on care, kindness, softness, gentleness, and firmness. standing firmly but gently in your own space, in this moment, no matter what's going on around us. It's likely that we're going to see a lot more challenge in the outside world, a lot more revolution. A lot of the people in this world are rising up and saying no to the demands of society and to the demands of the authorities. And that is what's supposed to happen in these times that we find ourselves in. We are moving into different states of consciousness. So whatever's coming up for you now emotionally is coming up so that it can be felt fully. You can take responsibility for those feelings. You can feel them, and you can allow them to move through you and past you. And so we're clearing. This is a clearing time. Now, at the beginning of a calendar year, what we usually say is, right, what's our plan? What's our goal? Where are we going? What's the mountain we're going to climb? What's our vision for the year? Capricorn is very much about what mountain are we going to climb and how are we going to commit to it? And, what's our first step and our second step and our third step and how are we going to get up this mountain? But this full moon is a little bit different simply because we have two of the personal planets, which is Mercury and Mars, both retrograde. Now, Mars is the planet of forward motion and it's retrograde, which means that forward motion isn't happening so much. Mercury is the planet of communication, and that's also retrograde. And many of us know what happens with Mercury retrograde very often, where there's misunderstandings, or if we sign a contract during Mercury retrograde, we might have to re-sign it. There can be disagreements, misunderstandings. We've got to make ourselves very clear in our communication because people can misinterpret what we're saying. So Mercury will still be retrograde until the 18th of January. So it's just to know that. So if you are kind of wanting to get things moving and they're not moving as fast as you want them to, just pause, wait, reconsider, review. So review your goals, which would be Mars retrograde. Mars being goals and plans and forward motion. Retrograde, review it. Just see if that's still a fit, if it's still aligning. Mercury retrograde, review your agreements with people. So I wouldn't go firm on anything while Mercury is retrograde. If you can wait. If you can't wait, it's fine, go for it. But just get the contracts maybe checked by somebody, because there does tend to be a bit of murkiness in terms of agreements. So that's just something to know. So it's pausing, reviewing, and releasing. Being very, very focused and very committed, which is Capricorn, the sun, to what is actually moving through us, and being able to navigate that. So it's really venturing deep within us to find the source of our true home, our true security, our true stability, that comes from within. It's committing to letting go of the stories from the past. Cancer can get very caught up in stories about the past. Just to be aware of it in any moment. Yep, I've just gone right back into the past. I can actually bring myself back. I can feel what I feel, but not go into the story of it, because then you're living in the past. And we're going to need our energy to be very, very present this year. We're going to need to be very flexible, very prepared to let go of just about everything that we think is true. Literally, whatever. It can mean whatever you've been told, that is the way to do things. Look at it, question it. That's Aquarius. That's this energy of the age of Aquarius, is question it. Question what you've been taught. Question what you've been told. Question especially what mainstream media is pumping out, because it's not pumping out the truth. So look for other information. If something doesn't feel right for you, and this is the full moon, to feel what feels right. What is this feeling that I'm feeling? Just feel it. Feel it. Allow the feelings to flow through you. Many of us are scared to let those feelings flow through because we think they're going to overwhelm and drown us. They won't. If you allow them to move through you, you actually navigate your way through them. if you repress them or find a way of exiling them or pushing them away, they will sit underneath the surface and they'll come up when least expected. So it's very important that we're actually present for our feelings, and we're present for what's arising, and we're flexible to actually make moves if we need to make moves. This is not a year where being stuck on something is going to work. We're going to need to be very wily in terms of navigating this year. There's a lot of good in this year as well. There's a lot of growth and a lot of consciousness. And we can literally go to different levels of our consciousness very quickly. This full moon also is in a beautiful alignment with Uranus. And Uranus is the planet which represents change. It's a flowing alignment with Uranus. Uranus means change. It also means innovation. It means vision. It responds to light bulb moments. If you take some time out, take some time just to be, you might find that you suddenly it just drops in to your awareness when you're not seeking for it. You're not trying to find the answers. There's just a knowingness. Yeah, this is what I need to do right now. So it's really honing. This full moon is honing our ability to tune in and to get the answers from within. We're running a 13-week journey. We've run 12 so far. This is our 13th one, which is interesting because 13 is the number of new starts. And that starts on the 26th of January. I urge you to have a look at the program because it's really about shifting our paradigm. It's shifting our consciousness. That's what the Journey to Freedom does. It's a 13-week journey to truly shift your consciousness. That is what it does, and that's what it's done for many, many people that have done the course with us. So you're welcome to join us for the first week, which is Vision 2023, and that's a full 1-week workshop online where you get to explore your vision for 2023. What do you want? What do you want to feel? How do you want to feel? Where are you going to focus your energy? What's your frequency going to be like? So Vision 2023, it's a 1-week workshop. We have 2 Zoom calls, and we have a whole lot of material for you as well. We have a creative project, journal questions, and then that's the first week of our full journey. And you can decide to commit to that after you've done the first week with us. 2 90-minute Zoom calls will give you a lot of information just on its own, even if you don't join for the full time. In our inner space community this month, we are focusing on the theme resilience, and have a look at that as well. Our inner space community is a beautiful space to just hold this energy that we're all navigating. All of us are navigating it. We're all in it. And if you've shown up at this point, at this time, your soul signed up for huge transformation. And it's reaching a kind of a tipping point. So there's nothing more important that I see that we can actually do than to be present for this huge, major transformation. And the card that I drew for this full moon, it's the cosmic egg. It's called the Divine Feminine. Interesting, isn't it? Because of Cancer full moon. The cosmic egg is the core symbol of the divine feminine creative force. And what the meaning of it is, which is interesting with the retrograde planets that I've just explained. Nothing needs to happen. I mean, that defies our ego logic, where we tell ourselves that everything needs to happen now. Nothing needs to happen. Everything is exactly as it should be. You hold the universe inside you. All life emerges from within. If you try to exert pressure for something to exist before it's ready, that new life within you won't have the time it needs to fully form. As I've said, this is a time of transition. It's a time of being, just allowing it to unfold. The cosmic egg is the essence of the divine feminine. It is the ultimate symbol of the creative force that exists within each one of us. It's the dark, loving womb that holds and protects all creative expressions of life. Remember, Cancer is the sign of nurturing, giving of life, mothering. If we allow what's within us to emerge in divine timing, in kairos or soul time, then whatever is within us will transform us. The egg is the trust that what is ours can never be taken from us. So there is no need to answer the ego's push to rush the process, to impress others, or to complete something on someone else's timeline. The egg is the faith that our process is sacred. The egg is the faith that even in the midst of what looks like chaos, or delay, or even death, there's a tendril of new life that only needs our trust to eventually take form. And the egg is knowing that life begins again after death from within. So a very potent card to start the year with. The soul voice meditation, where am I ready to expand? The intention, I hold the universe within me. I am the force of an ever-expanding love. So just as you go through this full moon and the next 2 weeks, if something's happening in your life, if something's challenging in your life, ask, how is this expanding me on a soul level? On a human level, it might just be really, really difficult. But how is it expanding me on a soul level? Because this is a time of soul growth, soul evolution. We are evolving into a new dimension of consciousness. This year is going to be about frequency. It's all about frequency. What is the frequency I'm holding in each moment? Am I going into the story about something that's done and its history? If so, I'm noticing that and I'm choosing to actually bring myself back. Am I getting really angry or really fired up about something for no real reason? If so, I can bring myself back. I'm in charge of my emotional state. I might not be in charge of what's going on around me, but I'm definitely in charge of how I respond to it. And this full moon is about how we respond. And that's going to feed into and build resilience for the year ahead. Can I respond with softness? Can I respond with gentleness? Firmness, but gentleness. Can I be present for what's arising without trying to make something happen that's not ready to happen? So that should give you a little bit of an update about the full moon and about the next few weeks. I am starting work again, so if you'd like to book a reading, you can do so. I've got a bit of a waiting list, but just send me a message and you can get hold of me via my website, which is down below. And if you like this video, please subscribe and hit the notification button and you'll get notified when I put a video out. Thank you so much for watching and listening and for your support over 2022. And I'm looking forward to traveling with you in 2023. Blessings.